Good morning. Welcome to the service of Unity of Boerne online. Pathlighters, those who have tuned in, you're welcome here. This Sunday after Christmas, in the season of celebration, I invite you to celebrate with us right now and be with us one day. This church is known as the House of Life. We'd love for you to be with us if you're able. If not, sit back and enjoy this time of praise and worship.
We're glad to have India Taylor providing our music today. Thank you. So if you'll please stand, we'll sing the joy song. Number 267, the First Noel.
Certain for shepherds in fields as they lay in fields they keeping their sheep on a cold winter's night that was so deep. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel. They look around and saw a star shining in the east beyond them far, and to the earth it gave great night, and so it continued both day and night. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel. The star tonight to the northwest, on Bethlehem it took its rest, and there it lay, all strong and safe,
bulletin, you will find a prayer request form for any prayer request you may have. You can drop them in the offering basket later, and they will be put with other prayer requests. Our own prayer team prays over them for a week, and they are also sent to Silent Unity, where they are prayed over for a month. For today's announcements. Remember, you are welcome to take the insert out of your bulletin, but please leave the bulletin jackets here so we can repurpose them throughout the month.
Oh, we could take them today, though, it's the last one of the month.
We have a Sunday morning book discussion every Sunday, 9:30 to 10:30 in the fellowship room. Please come for coffee, tea, and stimulating conversation. Join us for our end of the year Burning Bowl service on Friday, December 31st at 6 p.m. We have several ongoing activities via Zoom. The book study, What the Mystics Know, that's Sunday at 7 p.m. There are 3 Course in Miracles groups, Monday at 7 p.m., Tuesday at 2 p.m., led by Bob Patterson, Wednesday at 8 p.m., led by Reverend Jay. Pathlighters is 8 p.m. on Thursdays. The login info is in your order of service under Unity classes and activities. You can also find links on our Facebook page. Now, we will have the daily word read by Chris Diaz.
As we quietly and gently prepare for the reading of the daily word, we remember that we are in spirit with millions of daily word readers and churches throughout the world. The Christ candle is being lit as a reminder of the Spirit of God within all of us, which we call the Christ within. The word for today is faith. The affirmation is, my inner light grows brighter through faith. Pulling back a curtain in a dark room will drive the darkness out and flood the space with light. I remember this at those times when my life feels dark. I have the power to live from faith, which brings me out of spiritual darkness. Faith helps me believe that even when I can't see it, the light of God is always shining. Little by little, my awareness of God grows increasingly brighter until I perceive the divine everywhere. I am a spiritual being inseparable from God. I place my faith in this truth and drive out the darkness of fear and doubt that may have caused me to shrink from the fullness of life. Shining my light in the world, I inspire those around me to grow brighter with faith. From the scripture, John 12:46. I have come as light into the world so that everyone who believes in me should not remain in darkness. Again, the affirmation is, my inner light grows brighter through faith. My name is Chris. Thank you for worshiping here with us at Unity of Boerne.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Please stand for the Congregational Affirmation. I affirm and gratefully receive the gifts.
Wait, we don't have it up yet.
We're trying. All right,
Together.
here we go.
I affirm and gratefully receive the gifts of the Spirit, which are continually poured out, that lift me to higher levels inside. I express the truth inside me in joy, peace, and enthusiasm. New life is mine right now, as old things pass away. And I gratefully accept myself as the precious gift I am.
Please remain standing for the celebration song 257, Rock of Ages, the Divine Truth.
Rock of ages, truth divine, strong foundation never mine. Stay secure, we remain, in the peace he doth proclaim, living ever in the light, pure and perfect to God's sight. On the rock of truth I stand, destiny at my command, filled with peace and power God. Love's good, eternal love, saved with truth so firm and strong. Praising Him, triumphant song. Worthy asking, I attain every height and truth's domain. Every wish within my heart, for no blessing can depart. All the good is ever mine, on the rock of truth.
Please remain standing for our opening prayer, which we'll do together.
Unity is a vibrant, loving, spiritual community, providing a sacred space for personal growth. We honor and celebrate Christ within all people.
Thank you. Please be seated. And I will turn it over to Reverend Jay for the blessing of the prayer request and the remainder of the service. God bless.
Thank you, Dan. Good morning. In Unity of Boerne, I say we are a praying church because we know it works, because we know the only type of prayer is answered prayer. And right now, I'd like to give you the opportunity to fill out a prayer request card in your bulletin. If you don't have one, let me know. If you need some time, we'll wait. If you have any to place in the box, now's the time to do it. If not, we'll pray over them right now. Thank you. Infinite presence, we come before you this time, knowing that your perfect will is done to us as we believe. There are all types of joys, concerns, celebrations represented in this box. We know that you are present in the lives of these dear ones who make these requests. We affirm truth. We affirm health, healing, wholeness, all things wonderful. Be with those who need care and love. Let them realize your presence, your omnipresence, most especially your presence as truth inside them. We ask this in all your many wonderful names, and so it is. Amen.
message, I brought a song I wrote about recognizing the miracle that we are. The song was also inspired by a metaphysical view of the angel's message in the Christmas story, announcing the birth of the Christ in us. Voices that ring from the quiet within us singing the song of the blessed existence always we dwell in the light, children of angels delight. Joy is born to us, your glory lies. Heart, can you hear the voice of the Spirit singing tidings high? Infinite love, so to the angels for us. Peace to all people, rejoice and be happy, Gloria. All good is given, we take it gladly, Gloria. We are not loved from afar, angels wherever we are, singing the tune of our birth, bringing back heaven to earth. Heart, can you hear the voice of the Spirit singing tidings high? Infinite love, so true that angels for us. Singing with us in one glad affirmation, Gloria. Waking or dreaming, one meditation, Gloria. Each of us praise above, children of heaven's heart, dearer than moon and sun, just when creation begun. Heart, can you hear the voice of the Spirit singing tidings high? Infinite love, so true that angels for us. So true that angels for us.
Good morning. I hope your Christmas was beautiful, wonderful, abundant, filled with every good and lovely thing. I'm so glad to see each one of you here. When I was ordained about 18 years ago, the person that was doing it had some little thing of oil in his hand and put it across my forehead, and he said, "Go thou forth and take thine authority." And I thought about that, and I thought, go thou forth and take authority over people? Lots of love. Over events? No. Over the relative things that pass my way? Not really. What could I have authority over? And what did I want to tell folks about having authority in their own lives? What I had authority over was my mind, my reactions, and the way that I chose to express the God force within me, and the source within me, and what I taught to anybody that came my way about doing the same thing in their own lives. We celebrated just yesterday the birth of innocence, the birth of the Christ ideal that is in us and expresses as us to the extent that we allow it. The newness of life that we celebrated and celebrate is something that we do every year, December 25th. But I would like to approach it today from a little different perspective. It's one thing to be touched and moved by the birth of a child 2,000 years ago. It's quite another thing to live the truth that that child grew into and taught in his life. And we know, and we will say about 3 months from now, he paid an ultimate price for doing that. Why? Because he upset the apple cart of the religious leaders of that time, who believed in a dualistic universe, a God above, sinners below, and hopeful maybe we'll get something good if we behave ourselves in the sweet by and by. That was the way religion was formed and conceived so many years ago, and unfortunately, it's the way it's still practiced in many different traditions. And I say unfortunately because I think they're missing out on the richer, fuller life that is promised us right now. This baby that we celebrate said, I am come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. Than to say after you were out of this world, it said right now. But he also said, in this world you will have tribulation, but cheer up, I've overcome the world. And how did he overcome the world? And what does that mean for us? And that's what I'd like to talk to you about this morning. I said a couple of weeks ago that I don't know that there is such a thing here as true security. We have impermanence. We have events that come and go. Some we label good. Many sometimes we say are bad. Sometimes they're just in between and we just sort of try to roll with the punches. But I would like to talk about a newness of life today that can be yours, not for a lot of hard work physically, not because you go and bow down and say the right prayers or that you give all your money to someone or some organization. Nothing like that. Something that only you can do. And what the Latins called this was the process of educary, which is drawing forth the truth that is already in you and it is masked by the world and our opinions about it, our opinions about ourselves, and our opinions about our neighbors. We like to think that all our troubles emanate from something out here. And the truth of the matter is that happens, but we make the decision about how we're going to think about those troubles and also those joys, the things that constitute life, that fabric of life. I'd like to approach you this morning with the idea that no matter what is going on outside of you, there's a newness of life available to you for its recognition. It asks nothing but your assent. It asks nothing but for you to give up your cherished ideas about what it means to be in this thing called life. Now, if everything's working for you and everything is perfect, I wouldn't be one to try and shake you from that. But we know that most of us live in this relative world and feel pushed to and fro, back and forth, between what we call good things, and bad things, and different gradations and levels of that. I said on Christmas Eve, Jesus was not the great exception, he was the great example. And what did he really say? The kingdom of heaven was within you, and his kingdom was not of this world. Did he mean the physical world, or did he mean the world that we have where we interact, project, talk back and forth to one another, and make opinions and ideas about what life is and what it should be? I think that Jesus meant if you change the way you think, your life will change. And I've heard Jesus it was said of him that he was an ambassador of joy. I like that. He spread joy where he was because he saw the truth of the people that were in front of him. the truth of their being. I'd like for you to consider today the idea that this truth, this joy, this ground of your being is accessible right now with you doing only one thing, but it's the most crucial thing you'll ever do, and also it's truly the last thing you need to do in order to begin to experience the life more abundant. And what is that? Change your mind. To choose again who you think you are, who you believe you are. Allow the truth of your being to so water you, to bless you, to feed you, that you scarcely will recognize yourself. And how do you do that? Life is a process of releasing and taking, of being present in a moment that sometimes we wish wasn't occurring. But what we have one thing that is unchallengeable, what is one thing that is unchallengeable and completely in our control, is how we view ourselves and our world. So we can sit back and say, isn't this awful? Isn't this terrible? Why do they do that? Regardless, we would forget we are the ones that are projecting that from us onto the event. The peace of mind that is available to us comes at a price. We have to give up our judgments about people, place, things, events, and most especially ourselves. I think one of the reasons for the great success of Alcoholics Anonymous is it becomes necessary finally in this process to give up this self that's caused all this problem. You come empty-handed and your heart is broken and you finally say, I've had enough. I can't take it anymore to live this way. And at that moment, the ego, that thing, that hardened shell of opinion about events and you and everybody else, is cracked enough for the light to get in. And then that process of growth goes on as you practice, as they say, keep coming back and practice the principles, and it works if you work it. For those of us who don't have things that we need to give up right now, and I started out that sometimes because I'm always finding things I need to release inside myself. Do that before they get too big. It works better that way. It's a little easier. But to change your mind about the fundamental idea you have of yourself so that it aligns with the truth of your being that we celebrate, that this baby taught 2,000 plus years ago. To do that can be the agony of the moment, or it can be the joy of a lifetime. It's the agony of the moment if you remember everything that's negative and difficult that brought you to this point. Look at that as stepping stones to now. In other words, don't lose in your own mind. You have truth in you that has been there even when you were messing up. When you thought you were doing everything wrong and you were far away from the presence of God, that same presence was in you, working through you as you. Everything works together for good. Everything works together for good. Think about that. And that's another promise that we have in our scripture. It works together for good to those who love God and are called according to His purpose. Don't leave that out. And what's the purpose? Love of yourself, of others. Our chief job to get to this place is to forgive ourselves and ultimately forgive everything. Every judgment, every negative idea, everything that we thought has defined us, we release into the nothingness from which it came and hold only to love's present power. The presence that it always is. It is the ground of our being. So you can make resolutions in a week, and we often do. And we do them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and have different things, and that's a wonderful thing to do. But preceding that, I think it's far easier and much more embracing of the truth to say, I am willing to change my mind about myself and about my life and live the love that I know I am. Because if love isn't your basis, if love isn't the ground of your being, then what is? Would we say this relative world is the ground of our being? Events come and go, people come and go. It can't be that. We sang just now about the solid rock of truth. The rock of our being, the ground of our being. It's when you're scared and upset and frustrated and fearful that you need to stand on that. We say a rock because it symbolizes something hard, something firm that you can stand on, how firm a foundation. But you know, we wouldn't know what a rock is if there wasn't softness. We live in a world of comparison and dualism, and we think that's right. But there's one thing that overarches all of these ups and downs and ins and outs of human existence. To realize the love that you are, and to go forth in your life and show that to others by forgiving the unforgivable. Many people have things that they hold on to as an identity, and they say, he, she did this to me, and I'll never forget it. No matter as long as I live. Have any of you ever heard that? People talk like that. I will remember this till the day I die. And they'll take this with them as an identity of a suffering person and say, look what they did and how I had to suffer because of them, instead of rolling it back and saying, I'm going to learn from this. It's not going to define me. I'm going to stand on the truth of my being. I know I'm loved, and I'm not only here to forgive that person, I'm here to forgive myself for feeling that I was ever injured in the first place. Isn't that hard? It sounds hard, because it goes against what the ego says about us, about what this idea we have. What do you mean? I'm not a patsy. I'm not going to lay down for that. I'm not going to let them walk all over me. They're not going to win. They're winning when they live in your mind already. They're winning when you're making decisions based on what they did and how they acted to you, and you're not running yourself. That's why I say metaphysics without forgiveness is valueless. If you can't forgive yourself and you can't forgive others, you might as well give it up at the door, because you can affirm good things all day long. But if the idea inside your heart is one of hardness and unforgiveness, and I'm never going to forget it, go right down the list with that, you're not going to get anywhere. Just going to keep running into the same lessons over and over again. The walls in front of you that say, basically, you didn't have that thing that happened years ago, here it is again. You see, I believe life as a persistent teacher is going to continue to present us lessons until we get it. And what is it that we ultimately have to get? Sometimes we have to learn to be more patient. Sometimes we have to learn to be more compassionate. Sometimes we have to learn things that are different than we thought years ago. Life and the world, technology, and all this changes. But what is the real truth that we and you and me and I can stand on no matter what? It's love. The only thing that's real. The events, the opinions, the people, the things that hurt you, the things you love, they will come and they will go. This is an impermanent world. But the one thing that's permanent is your ability to choose to let go of resentments and frustrations and upsets that have defined you perhaps up till now. We have a group called Pathlighters that meets online every Thursday night. We affirm an intention to be part of a solution. In other words, we believe that when we meditate and pray and send our best energy, we are interacting with everybody around the world thinking those same thoughts. There is a flow of energy. I'm sure you have heard of that. We've heard the energy in some places is low, in some places it's high, and we say the vibes are this way and the vibes are that. We know what that is. Well, at Pathlighters, we intend the very best for people. And what do we do? How do we do that? Through forgiveness of ourselves and others, and proclaiming love as the ultimate reality. Do I sound like a hopeless sentimentalist when I'm talking about love like this? Do I sound like I'm somebody that just says, walk all over me, I don't care? Yeah, walk all over me all day long. I don't care so long as I get to keep the peace of mind and the ground of being that's mine. My reputation is not in my hands. My character is. My reputation can be changed by people talking or thinking or whatever they do. But what does that mean to me? Am I going to let them or that event define me? Are you going to let the things, the small things, define you? If you do, that's antithetical to the truth that we're celebrating, that this baby came to teach us 2,000 years ago and grew up in his own tribulation and even caused some tribulation to his mom and dad. Where are you? What are you doing? I'm in the temple learning at a young age. Then there's a whole span of time from the age of about 20 to 33 that we don't know exactly what he was doing. I like to think he was growing into the great blessing we celebrate, his own Christhood, his divinity. Saying, these things I do, you can do greater because I'm going to my Father or I'm going to my source. Do you believe that today about yourself? Do you believe those things that he did, you can do and greater? You can, because it's hardwired into you. It's in your DNA. That's why people who do things that aren't nice, correct, polite, aren't happy. They may be successful for a moment. They may get what they think they want for the moment, but down deep, they're not happy people. I've never seen one person who has proclaimed that they will do anything they have to succeed. They don't care who they walk over. They don't care what they have to do. I've seen them say, I made it. I've seen them say, I'm successful, but I've never heard them say they're happy. And they never admit they're not happy because that would be a chink in this identity they built as a go-getter, as one that doesn't take any nonsense, as one that doesn't mind walking over people. We are all one. We have split into billions of pieces over the years, forgetting the oneness that we are. We think we're individualized, encapsulated egos that have to defend this sack of skin against all manner of things, instead of remembering that love is the essence of who we are, our neighbors, those people in front of us, and what we need to do to be in right relationship is to forgive them and to forgive ourselves. It's not that hard, but it's difficult. I'm not saying that it's easy to let go of the hurt of a lifetime. I've been hurt. I know what it's like. I know each of you have suffered hurts. You do just by the fact of being human. And then what happens is you get mad at yourself after a while for carrying the hurt around, but you don't know what to do with it. The best thing to do with it, let it go. How do you let it go? You change your mind. How do you change your mind? Give up that opinion about yourself as fill in the blank. We claim identities that limit us. So if I had to give you an identity today just for kicks and grins, I might say, I am a loving, forgiving channel of the Almighty. And I go forth to show that to everyone with whom I come in contact because I first show it to myself. People that are at home with themselves, who are at peace with themselves, rarely make problems for other people. Have you noticed that? But those who are in turbulence and turmoil and upset and all the regurgitation of all these ideas of negativity, they're the ones that create problems for themselves and other people. And then one of the things we do is we step back and we say, I'll never be like that. Not realizing that they represent an aspect of that inside us. We aren't that different from one another. We like to think so because we get this feeling of specialness. Well, you are special with your divine capital self, S. But the small self, the human self with a small s, that's what we're dealing with and interacting with every day of our lives. Do you really care? Does it really matter to your peace of mind that somebody gets a better parking space? Is it really worth it to run in line and say, wait a minute, nobody gets in front of me, I held that place? And to let your day be affected by that? Is it really that hard to turn the TV off for about half hour a day and not listen to the naysayers and those that are there that are paid to rile us up? Does it really, really bother us in order to choose that time for reflection on health, wholeness, abundance, peace, harmony, prosperity, abundance, riches? Let's go with it. Let's get with the program of affirmative thinking and living. That's what 2022 is going to be. We're not going to worry ourselves out of this pandemic. We're not going to naysay ourselves out of this. What we have to do is fundamentally change our minds in favor of who we are. And if enough of us do this, I'm just cockeyed enough to believe that there may not be another one of these things happen. I think that this is here for us to learn that we are one. Technology has pushed us apart in so many ways. We can sit at home in front of a computer and talk to somebody 6,000, 7,000 miles away, and we think we've had a relationship. We haven't had a relationship, we've had an event. A relationship gets down with somebody in front of them and says, tell me about yourself, let me know who you are, I want to interact with you, and I'm going to do this for the good of both of us. I enjoy your company. I want to learn about you. The things that upset you are probably about the same things that upset me. That's what being alive in humans about. We've made it so complicated. We've set up a hierarchy of things that are forgivable all the way up to unforgivable. We say, well, it's down here, I can forgive that, but up here and these things I can never forgive. And in myself, oh no, there's some things that I just can't forgive myself for doing. Of course you can. It's just an opinion of yours that you can. Let the opinion that you carry about yourself be replaced with God's opinion about you. And his opinion, or her opinion, or its opinion, I don't think the universe cares. I don't think God cares about the name that we call him, her, it. I think he recognizes, I think it's important that he's recognized as the source and ground of being. So you see, I have no problem with masculine and feminine pronouns. I don't care. I care about the power. I care about the source of power. And I care that I'm connected with it night and day as best as I can be. There are going to be times, according to the way I feel, according to the day and whatever's happened, that I'm going to be not as able as others. Don Miguel Ruiz talks about that, the 4 agreements. There are going to be times that doing your best is going to be a little more difficult than others. But forgive yourself and say, I'll try again. I'll try again to be part of the solution. I'll try again to integrate myself and know that life is really very simple. I'm here to forgive, and I'm here to express love. And the newness of life that's promised me in the process of doing that is mine the moment I claim it. And now your affirmations take wings, because you're not affirming with the small self. You're affirming with that capital S. You have joined with that power, the very power of creation that flows through you, that's innocent, has never been hurt, and never can be hurt. There's a place in you, and you know it. You hear faint echoes of it. I know you do. I do. Sometimes it comes at night. Sometimes it comes when I have animals around me. Sometimes it comes when I'm hearing a stirring, beautiful piece of music, but I'm aware of that source, and it lifts me for the moment. And I think, why can't I have this all the time? And I've come to believe it's because I live in a universe that's constantly competing for my attention with things that aren't going to matter, most of them, in a very few minutes. What does it matter to hear about all the negativities in this world unless you can do something about it? And when you do something about it and you're really part of the solution, you're coming at it from a place of love, not anger, not judgment, not hatred, not any of the lesser parts of our humanity. That's why we know and honor and revere those who have used love as their only weapon. I don't like that word, but their only tool. Sometimes love, you could say it's the weapon of a spiritual warrior. Not to hurt and destroy, but to come in and heal, affirm, and uplift. Use it for your own edification. Use it for your own change. Use it as the ground of your being. Know it. And then you can go forward and really be part of the new life that's promised instead of having that hollow, empty feeling that so many people have had. When they say, yes, I've sang the Christmas carols, and yes, I've prayed the prayers, and I'll do it again next year, but in the meantime, I'm just going to try to get by like I have in the past. I'm talking about newness of life. That's exactly what I titled this message this morning, and I hope it has touched you enough to know that you're the director of your life. You're the one that's in charge. You're the one that's in control of you, and you get to choose your attitude about what happens out here 24 hours a day. I hope you're not up that long, but hope you get some sleep in the meantime, but you are in charge of your attitude all the time. That is sometimes great news to us, and sometimes we don't like it because it tells us down deep, stirs up things, tells us down deep, we have things we need to let go of. We have things we need to give up in order to get up and grow up. But that's what we're here to do, to grow into our very God plan. The end of all this is beautiful. We are one. We belong in the kingdom of heaven. And I'm not sure our true selves have ever left it to begin with. We're here living out things that we need to learn certain things about ourselves. But we are sons and daughters of the Most High. And don't let anyone, especially yourself, talk you out of that idea. So may the newness of life that I'm talking about this morning be embraced by you. May it be something upon which you build and stand and affirm and walk on into the newness of life that presents itself to us every moment. And you meet conditions with that attitude, and you meet what comes to you with that mindset, you'll find the things change. The things that you look at, they change because you're seeing them with, thank you, AA, a new set of glasses. See, I don't happen to have a substance abuse problem, but I think AA has some of the most powerful spirituality, all the anonymous programs that you could avail yourself of. I'm not so sure you need to even have a substance abuse or problem to go there and feel the life-changing energy that comes from people who have surrendered the lesser to embrace the greater. I hope that's what we do here. I affirm that we've done that this morning. I'm seeing you right now as more than conquerors and more powerful than you ever know in this new year. And that in the face of difficulties and in spite of difficulties, we grow and we affirm that growth. I affirm it in you. I send you my love. And thank you for being here. And I see you in your true self. God bless each and every one of you. So it is. service. We close our eyes in meditation. Take a deep breath. Be comfortable in our seats. Sometimes we raise our palms up. Whatever posture is comfortable to you. This morning, we will go forth and take authority over ourselves by remembering who we are. And as we relax into the presence that is ours right now, the living beliefs that we have, perhaps accrued over this past year, about ourselves, about our lives, about other people, it's safe to let them go. It's safe to grow stronger and happier by releasing those things that no longer serve us. And we do that in this precious, special moment. We know the truth of the statement, as above, so below, as within, so without. The things that have hindered us this time, other times, those things that we may have carried for years and years, or maybe for days, we can release and let go. It feels good to step into the fullness of our God self. It feels wonderful to stand in the loving presence of truth that is inside us right now and take the healing and the health, the abundance, affirming the health and the abundance of who we are. Things that have hurt us, that we've made a decision about, that may have run us subconsciously, we recognize in this moment. And we forgive. We want the bigger, greater life, the abundant life that's promised to us. And we know that it is done to us as we believe. And we believe the best about who we are right here in this moment. The lesser things that have concerned us, the hurts that have run us, are released right now. The tender touch of the Master is on us right now. We celebrate the rebirth of innocence in us. We see ourselves as God sees us. Strong, able, capable, and most of all, loving. And this time we recognize the truth. Love is really who we are. We extend it to ourselves. We feel its presence in this meditative state. And it goes out from us to touch others who we meet. We affirm recreation right now. And the places in us that need healing, we take from with abundance. Knowing that we are sons and daughters of the Most High and heir to all things good. We affirm the truth of ourselves, the absolute truth. We are loved, and we are loved. We give thanks for this time of self-realization. And so it is. Amen. We know how fun it is to give, and we also know how fun it is to receive. It's part of a process, not two separate things. It is a law of the universe. As you sow, so shall you reap. As you give, you receive. We ask at this time that you give your best gift to Unity of Boerne. We are facing the same issues as other churches, and we rely and survive on your free will gifts, tithes and donations. And those of you who are watching online would rather give by sending it in the mail. You can mail your gifts to Unity of Boerne, P.O. Box 1973, Boerne, Texas 78006. Or you can press the PayPal button at the bottom of this page if you're viewing us on, and you can donate right there. Together, we say this with conviction and belief. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I send it forth with my blessings and my love. Go thou forth and take thine authority today and live a wonderful life. Together, we form a circle and sing our peace song.
Yeah.
stayed, it was really good.
Thank you for joining us today at Unity of Boerne. We look forward to seeing you again.